Want to finish off today by talking a little bit about expansion in the A-League women's competition. We learnt on Thursday that Auckland's entry into the competition that they're working quite hard towards, it must be said, at least from the outside looking in, will be delayed to the 27-28 season. So not even next campaign, but the one after. This is done despite Auckland in the last couple of weeks announcing a bunch of different women's talent development programs and centres, and these camps and stuff will continue, they've said, and they will launch as scheduled, but obviously their entry into the A-League women's competition is delayed, which is unfortunate. There's some quotes here from Nick Becker, who is the CEO of Auckland FC, saying, quote, "We understand the reason behind the decision, and naturally we want to launch our women's team into the strongest possible Ninja A-League." I'm going to be honest, Jacob, I don't quite understand the reason behind the decision at all.
Has it even been announced what the reasoning is? I see that I think it's on the league side of things, but I don't think, have they actually said what the reasoning for delaying it is?
That's a great question. I'm going to go to the A-League.
Yeah, I'm with you in that it's like he said that, we understand the reason, yeah, but nobody else does because we don't know what the reason is. So
I know Philip Rollo was talking about it. Here we go. He's just tweeting, Auckland FC's inclusion in the A-League Women has been delayed until the 27-28 season. In a reply on that comment, he says, appears to be reluctance from the APL to bring in a new team due to financial challenges and the looming broadcaster rights renewal. But I can't help but feel that Auckland would have hit the ground running with a competitive squad and added the league, like we saw with the A-League man. Yeah. It's hard to disagree with that.
100%. And especially when you're seeing Wellington being one of, I think, the best run A-League women's sides in the competition as well. Kind of can't help but feel that Auckland would be the same. So it does seem like perhaps a little bit of a missed opportunity. I see some people speculating that maybe it's so that they can bring in a couple of sides at the same time in the same season. I've seen, they should bring in MacArthur at the same time next season and stuff like that. But,
MacArthur have their own problems.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's a bit disappointing, but it doesn't seem like the club is overly offended by it, which is, I suppose, the main thing. Obviously they've done a lot of good work, like you said, to try and get things up and running. But a setback for them, I think, of all the clubs to if you're going to give them a setback that'll be the least affected by it, Auckland's got to be up there just in terms of the way that they're run. This won't hurt them too much, which I'm sure also played into the APL's decision making of going, well, it's probably not going to hurt them a huge amount. And while it would be nice to see them in the league, it is what it is now. And it means that we potentially won't end up with another sort of Western United situation right in a few years' time. So it's disappointing. I'm sure we'll find out the exact reasoning. Obviously, you said Philip Rollo there has kind of touched on it a little bit, but nothing official from the APL or from Auckland themselves yet as to exactly what it is. But no, it's just, it's a bit disappointing. Like you said, they've done a lot of good work in laying some of the groundwork, and we're kind of seeing as well some other A-League women's clubs, right, getting some academy initiatives off the ground as well, sort of similar timing. So it's kind of seemed like Auckland were like raring and ready to go, and they're like, we're going to match the top teams in the league and really go out there and not pull any punches. But yeah, they're going to be delayed, and that's a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. And look, you mentioned the academy stuff, and that's in reference to Melbourne Victory and Melbourne City. They've both confirmed with Football Victoria that they've been granted admittance into the NPL system down there on the women's side of things, which has been the case with the men's sides for a little while, but this is new on the women's side of things. So they're going to play their under-23s team in top level of Victorian state football, replacing what is FV Academy as well.
Yeah.
And they're also entering a team into the under-20s competition. There was something in there about the same being offered to Western, but they'll wait and see if they're not dead in a week's time, and then we'll see if they want to participate in there as well, which is really encouraging. And this is all coming off the back of the under-23s, which in itself is a new team. That is not a very common thing for Australia to have an under-23 women's team. Went and won the ASEAN Women's Championship. Not the under-23 championship, the senior ASEAN Women's Championship won by the Australian under-23s, which is a massive result. Holly Furphy was named the MVP for the tournament, and Alana Janshevsky was the rising star.
Can I just you bring up those two names and I can't help but poke the bear on this one, because
yeah,
I'm sure we all saw the post by the Melbourne Victory on Twitter about announcing a new signing, and oh, that is one of the worst teaser announcements I think I have ever seen. It's generated some brilliant banter and some great memes, don't get me wrong, but everything that they did made it seem like it was going to be one signing, to the fact that they just had the one line with one pen in the caption, right? And then the three emojis right next to each other as well, to try and, in my mind, it's insinuating that it's one person. And you've got then, what was it? It was a beer, a chef, and a horse. And it's like everybody was worked up into a frenzy to try and figure out who it was going to be, or someone just blatantly going, "Oh yeah, beer, chef, horse, yeah, quality player." But obviously then it's the announcement of some signings for the women's team, which some people kind of were like, maybe it's women's team because it's a female chef emoji that they use and stuff like that. And we can kind of make sense of some of what they were getting at. But any way you look at it, there's one emoji left over that just doesn't fit with the names whatsoever. And it's just like the chef, Janchevsky, like that kind of works. Then there's the discussion over Furphy, with beer, and
I went straight to horse. I don't know.
You went straight to horse.
Is that wrong to do?
But then either way, that leaves you with who is the other, Sophia Sakalis or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And what does beer or a horse have to do with that? Either way, like it just doesn't make sense. And I've seen no explanation about it either. So hats off to you, Melbourne Victory. You've confused absolutely everybody in announcing those three signings. Any way you spin it, there's an emoji that doesn't fit with a name. So it just
confused none more so than Paletti, who was astounded that they were announcing signings outside of their usual dub week before the season started. But Melbourne Victory, they've got junior teams in the NPL and they're announcing signings early. It's a new world. But yeah, I mean, everything we've just talked about, it kind of lends itself towards being a really positive time for women's football in terms of more academy structures and more opportunities for young players. And obviously our youngsters are doing pretty well on the grand stage, which is awesome. The fact that they're winning senior trophies, the Serenity Cup is brilliant.
It's awesome.
Again, it's almost like you bring it back down and you associate all this goodness with the A-League, and then all of a sudden you get the kind of trip on the court. And
going, oh no,
it's just unfortunate, isn't it? As you said, Auckland would be the team that would be in straight away and just ready to go, and they're being held back. And MacArthur do have their own delays, which Paletti will be able to speak to great. And I know that Paletti and Burke both spoke about the under-23s win on the Dubcast, which you can go watch at the moment as well. They released an episode the other day. But it's supposed to be such a good moment, and then just, you get news like this. It just kind of happens, doesn't it? But it is what it is. We fight on, and look, it's good to see the underlying things are there, and then hopefully this will be a launching block for women's football going forward.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But it's like you said, it's just you can't kind of get that feeling of what's going to happen that's going to ruin this. It's what's going to stop this from becoming, a good sign for the senior side in a few years' time. It's kind of that whole, it's still the A-League thing, so anything can happen at any point in time. And we know that there are some clubs that take it really seriously and do a good job with their women's sides, and some that just kind of don't care all that much about it. So no, it's great to see them performing at that age in a senior tournament. Is cool. I mean, if this was a men's side that had done this, it would be everyone would be talking about how great it is, but this has kind of just gone under the radar, right? And I think it goes to show just how strong women's football is in this country. So yeah, you're right, it's about nurturing it now and making sure that this is kind of the staging point for the future of that squad and those players, and then the future of the Matildas as well moving forwards, and giving them those pathways into that senior setup, because there's clearly a lot of talent there, and they're a good squad, so it would be a shame for it to go to waste.
Just to make this absolutely clear as well, these are teams that will be in Australia next year participating and competing in the Women's Asian Cup. Our under 23s, who traditionally has not been an age group that has a program on the women's side of things, went and beat them and won a tournament against these sides. So terrific effort, and boy, does that not bode well for Australia's chances in the senior side of things, hopefully. Mary Fowler's running around again over at Man City, was named in the PFA team of the season. Sam Kerr's talking about how she's going to bang in goals all season for Chelsea. There's a lot of optimism flying around at the moment. So hopefully with Big Joe at the helm now, a couple more windows until that tournament kicks off, it's going to be a fun time for sure. Hopefully the girls can get it done in Australia next year.